In order to start with this tutorial, we will first open the surveys.rmd file with RStudio. Once we do this, all the information will be loaded into our window. In the left part, here we can see all the theory, tips, and also the code examples that we were provided from the website. Before running any of these examples, we need to first install all the packages from the R library. In order to do that, we will select the lines below install packages and we will look for the button Run in the top left part of the source window. Within this button, we will click on Run selected lines, and with this all our packages will start to download. This step is very important and we need to be patient since there are many packages to be downloaded and many of these are really heavy. Once all our packages are installed, we can load them into our software by selecting the load lines. These are the lines below set options. We select all of these lines and once again we go to Run and Run selected lines. Once we are done with this, we will start with our example. First, we need to load the dataset into our software. As we can see, our data has been loaded and we can check that on the right part in the section Environment. Once the dataset has been loaded, we can prove that our data is correctly loaded by showing the first 10 data rows of this dataset, as we can see here in this table. Once we do this, we can start plotting a cumulative density plot. This plot will show us all the information from the dataset depending on the course, the satisfaction levels, and the cumulative density. As we can see here, we have 3 courses: Chinese, German, and Japanese, and also we have 5 satisfaction levels, starting from very dissatisfied to very satisfied, and also our cumulative density, starting from 0 to 1. Once we have done this, we can move on to the pie chart. Before doing the pie chart, we first need to calculate the frequency and percentages of each satisfaction level. With this information, we can now proceed with the help of the ggplot function in order to plot our pie chart, as you can see here in this plot. However, we can improve this plot by using some labels. And in the following plot, it is tried to use labels. However, the labels are not properly positioned. So, in order to position these labels, it is important to calculate also the position of the labels, as you can see in the following table. This table contains both the frequency, percentage, and position from the previous table, and with the help once again of ggplot, we will plot the complete pie chart. Once we are done with this, we can also group the information from the previous example by each course, and we obtain this following table. And with this table, we can plot separately pie charts according to each of these courses with the properly labels. We have here a plot chart or a pie chart for Chinese, German, Japanese, and all the satisfaction levels. We can also plot bar charts using the density cumulative information, and also as well as the example before, we can group all this information into course information. And we also obtain a similar table from the previous example, and we can see here that we have a bar plot according to each satisfaction level and also according to each course. However, we can even group more deeply this information, and here we can see that we have Chinese group, German group, and Japanese group, and each one of them has its satisfaction levels properly plotted.
Now, we will load a different dataset for the following exercises. From this dataset, we can extract the name of the different columns that correspond to the questions of the survey. And if we display all the data, we will see a graph like this one, with the complete information. By using the Likert and plot functions, we can display the next graph that contains the data in percentages. For the next graph, it is necessary to install a new library. We go to Packages, Install, and type the name of our library. Once installed, we verify and proceed to graph the last task, but it is divided into courses. Now, we will briefly see some useful statistics that can be done in R. First, we load a different dataset into our software, like the one you see in this table. Then, we will use the crunchbar alpha to interpret this data. However, since it's too resource expensive, we can use a different option. By using the omega coefficient, we can analyze the data in the same way and with more specific results. Then, we can see how to apply factor analysis that helps us identify the commonalities in the data. As we can see in the figure, they are grouped by categories. Principal component analysis helps us to obtain the common factor among different variables, as it can be seen by the following graph and the scores of the table. Finally, we use ordinal regression with a new loaded dataset. This will apply something similar to a linear regression, but for ordinal data. As it can be seen, we get the variables and calculate some statistical values. With this, we get the following plot. This plot has all the information organized. From this, we obtain relevant information that can be interpreted using extra calculation, like the standard error, the p-value, and even some confidence intervals. At the end, this will give us a table with refinements that will allow us to plot the final regression model. This regression model is shown in the picture right now.